first video of the To IB or Not to IB series. My name is Arya and I am a November 2020 graduate who, yes, graduated in the very crappy and annoying COVID-19 season. So as I'm sure as all of you guys would have heard by now and read the news and everything, 2020 was a very interesting time for the IB program and it still is going. During this time, the IB decided to do a lot of weird and new things in how they graded and gave out the IB scores to the students, especially the May 2021s. And so yeah, I have decided to make this video for those of you who are still stuck in the pandemic season and are going into exams, and just on how to do things during this time, what to really focus on, and the resources that really worked for me. And you know, that doesn't mean to say like these things aren't applicable to those of you who are not in the pandemic season. So I have divided this video up into 3 parts. So part 1 is going to look at some general tips that really worked for me in the IB, in the pandemic and out of pandemic season. Part 2, we'll be looking at some more really like IB specific stuff tailored to stuff that you guys should really focus on to get the best out of this really kind of crazy program so you can get the best grades you want to get. And last but not least, I'll be looking at the top resources that are for IB and non-IB resources that really worked for me during my time in the diploma program. Now, this video is tailored to those of you who are in the IB or those of you who are thinking of doing the IB. And so you guys can kind of just use this video to think about, is it worth it or is it not worth it? Hence the name To IB or Not to IB. Tip number 1 is to be consistent. Now, I know during the pandemic season or just in general, students find it really hard to just kind of get that motivation going, keep up that effort. You know, you start off on a really strong note and then it just kind of declines by the time you get to around exams, and it's just a lot of panic, a lot of cramming, and it's just, yeah, don't do that. So it is really hard to keep consistent, but do your best to just do a little bit every day. So during my time, I was someone who would get overwhelmed really easily actually. And there was this one time I asked my friend about their IA, so IA being an internal assessment, and I was like, oh yo, how much have you done? And they were like, oh, I've done this much. And I was like, she's done so much and I've done nothing. So, and I asked her, hey, what do you do? And she was like, oh, I just do a little bit every day. So from that moment on, I was like, oh, that makes so much more sense, because instead of cramming or getting like this massive workload accumulating over time and then just seeing it pile up and getting demotivated, it's just nicer, better, and more sustainable to do just a little bit every day. Maybe like 20 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, whatever it is that works for you, but just keep that sort of kind of routine going in being consistent. Because, and the IB isn't really, like, think about it like this, the IB isn't a 100-meter sprint, it's more of a really long marathon. And if you decide to just cram everything into sort of one small week-long study session, especially like when you guys have final exams, if you have final exams, then it's not sustainable. You're not going to be able to cram all of that content into your brain cells in just whatever amount of study period you have. And yeah, and you're going to be a lot more prone to burnout during doing that kind of studying. So my advice to you would be to just do a little bit every day, and the saying being, a little a day goes a long way. And it sounds kind of like an apple a day keeps a doctor away, and it's kind of just like the same concept, you know, like if you do a little bit every day, it keeps the panic, the stress, the cramming all away, hopefully the cramming away. So yeah, consistency is very much the key, I would say, to doing well in the IB, and that's why I've put it at number 1. But that being said, if you can't, you know, like say you do fall behind, and that's really easy, I've fallen behind plenty of times as well. That just means that you're gonna have to catch up somewhere. So be it the school holidays, be it during the weekends, whatever time you get, you need to really kind of prioritize that catching up rather than, binging another K-drama, binging another anime, or playing 10 hours of League. Like, just kind of get the priorities straight in up there. So if you do find yourself kind of falling behind, stick around to the end of the video and you'll see I'll be giving out some resources that really help me understand concepts, like harder concepts, in pretty much like under 10 minutes with the help of really creative YouTube geniuses. So tip number 1, guys, is to just stay consistent and just do your best to do that, okay? It keeps all the cramming away, stress away, and just makes your life a lot more easier and more in control. Okay, tip number 1. So tip number 2 is to sleep and exercise. Now, they're both kind of together because they're both kind of go hand in hand, I would say. So during my time, I was seeing people averaging on 3 to 5 hours of sleep on a daily basis, probably like halfway through diploma. And I'm just here, being the sleep beast I am. I love sleep. Sleeping 6 to 7 hours and still going like, what the heck is the time? What day is it? And I'm just wondering, how are these people getting through their life, getting through their week, and being able to study and just do everything at the same time? Like, I was just wondering, would they be able to make it? And the thing is, they didn't. Like, they were the first people I saw start to really experience burnout, and it's a pretty heartbreaking thing to see because, you know, they've worked really hard. Like, I know they've worked really hard, and it's just like their body decides to give up, and yeah, it's not a pretty sight, and it's not something nice to experience. So guys, really prioritize your sleep. And I know, especially during the pandemic, since there is a lot more time, students are feeling more demotivated. There's just a lot of uncertainty going on. One good way I think really worked for me as well was to just kind of set goals in both sleep and exercise. So for sleeping, I would aim to get around 6 to 7 hours. So I would pretty much be in bed by 11 p.m. and, you know, like even if I was like really wanting to study because I was feeling bad about not being able to study, I would still go to bed by 11 because it's so important that you get that sleep and you get that energy recuperated, is that the word? So, you know, like the next day you're not feeling groggy, you're not losing focus, you can stay concentrated during class, especially during online class when it is so easy to fall asleep listening to your teacher's voice, and it's just a lot better to prioritize your sleep, guys. And for exercise, pandemic season gives you a lot more time actually. So I know for me and a lot of other kids at my school, we actually traveled over 1 hour to get to school, and the pandemic saved us that time. So for you guys, if you guys are saving, and I'm pretty sure you would be saving a lot more time, then go and exercise. Like, exercise is so important, not just for your general well-being, but I'm pretty sure you would have heard, like, for your cognitive functioning, getting those endorphins going, just feeling a lot more energized. And that would also help you to feel a lot more motivated as well, and kind of get that motivation going, that study going, even when you're feeling quite down. So one way to do this during the pandemic is, even though, say, venues are closed, you can't maybe go swimming, play community sports and stuff, but with the rise in technology, guys, technology is so good these days. It is crazy. You can track your sleeping patterns. You can track and set goals on your sport. So do that. That might be something you can work towards. Become better. Like, just set these goals. Feel that motivation coming through that, instead of kind of waiting for someone to ask you to do something. So just try your best to be proactive and do your best to prioritize sleep and exercise. That's why I've put them at number 2 after consistency, because it is so important just to keep your health and well-being going. And it's also really important that helps you to stay motivated and everything. So tip number 2, guys, sleep and exercise. Alright, okay, so tip number 3 is to plan out your day, your week, your month, even your year, guys. Just go for it. Now, when it comes to this kind of stuff, it does not need to be the aesthetic AF shit you see on Pinterest, Instagram, everywhere. Because all you need to do is just plan it out. Get it on paper, get it on a calendar. Use Notion. Notion is amazing for this. Even though I don't use it, I know it's really, really good. People find it really helpful. Because that way, you're staying organized. That way, it will help you to stay on top of things, help you stay consistent, and it will help you not to fall behind. It's like, that is one of the most important ways, I would say, I found help me not to fall behind as much as I would have without it. So for me, I found that writing things down, so writing out my day in a small sort of journal, this big, notebook this big, really helped me out, really helped me stay organized and stay on top of things. And for me personally, I find that writing things down, so writing out my tasks, just made it a lot more memorable, and I would say more satisfying to kind of just tick it off at the end of the day, or whatever the task was when it was due. So I know it's hard, and some people kind of just don't find that commitment to do it, but really just take one step at a time. Once again, a little a day goes a long way again. So one step at a time, just put in that effort, just put it down on paper, put it down on a notepad, put it down on a sticky note, do whatever, but just put it down so you remember and you stay committed to it. Now, that being said, if you, for example, say can't get something done that you decide to put down and you're really feeling bad about it, don't beat yourself up about it too much, because I know I've done that quite a few times, and it's once again can lead to burnout and all sorts of nasty things that we don't want. So if you do somehow, not get something done, then just put it on to the next stage, but make sure to get it done in your own time and before whenever that thing is due. Don't go doing things after your exam is done, after your IA is due, guys. That probably isn't the point of why you put that task down in the first place. So tip number 3, especially during pandemic season, is to plan out your day, your week, or month. And it does not need to be aesthetic or pretty to look at. Just make it so that it suits you and your needs best. So there you go. Plan out your day, month, week, or whatever. Tip number 4 is to make friends with your teachers. Now, as weird and cringy as that sounds, it's actually such an important way and such a beneficial way to getting good grades and just doing well in IB or any kind of study in general. So your teachers, IB teachers, I found are very experienced. They have a lot of real world experience. So, being able to ask them questions and just get those answers is a lot better than not doing it at all. So aim to have a really good relationship with your teacher, because this way they'll be happy to help you and you'll actually be able to get a lot more tips and advice out of them than, say, if you were the student who just went to class, spoke a little bit, and then went away. So really aim to have that reciprocating relationship with your teachers. And the other thing being is that with tech and during pandemic, learning and teaching becomes almost like a 24/7 thing. You can email your teachers. I was about to say text. That sounds really weird. Don't text your teachers, guys. So email your teachers. I know I was the student who just asked the most random, the most number of questions, and probably my teachers may have gotten annoyed, but I would say is one of the most important things in order to do well. Asking your teachers those questions, having a good relationship with them. And they are probably one of the best resources as well that you can have in the IB program, okay? Because they know the syllabus content, hopefully. And if you are that proactive student, if you are the student asking the questions, they will want to teach you a lot more than, say, if you were the student who kind of ditched class or came halfway late. Those students, maybe they do well, but teachers don't have the best impression of them. So have a good impression on them, and this sounds like I'm literally asking you guys to be a teacher's pet, but that is basically it. Be the teacher's pet. You'll get so much out of that. Okay, so tip number 4 is to befriend your teachers. Okay, and my last tip, so tip number 5 for you guys is to really enjoy yourselves. So we as a society, so it's getting really deep now, so we as a society tend to associate studying with so much negativity that it kind of just becomes such a bore, and it's just a seeps to just do, because you're like, oh, I need to study, and then you kind of get this image filled with students crying, stressing, and yes, I have done that, but it doesn't need to be like that all the time, So find a way, and I know this is probably one of the hardest things students will find in anything like study related probably, but try your best to find something you enjoy about the subject. For example, biology. When I started studying biology, yes, there is a lot of content and it can make you cry, but that content is applicable to everyday life. Like, just look at the plants around you, just look at the creatures around you, and just think about what you're learning and try and apply it there. Watch David Attenborough, like, he will probably ignite a huge love for biology, even physics kids wouldn't like. So just try your best to enjoy yourself. And with that being said, the IB at the end of the day, guys, is just a number. So even if you weren't able to get the score you wanted, or you did way better than expected, make sure you make a lot of good memories during this time. With the pandemic, this is probably, well, it is really hard, you know, to go out, hang out, but you know, Discord calls, Discord hangouts, just be creative with these kinds of things. So really just try your best to enjoy yourselves and have fun during the whole process, because IB can be an enriching experience and give you a lot of real life knowledge that I don't think any other curriculum could give you. Have some hate towards IB since they did kind of cuck the May 2020 kids, but do your best to enjoy yourselves during that time, guys. So tip number 5 is to enjoy yourselves and make some really good memories to the best of your abilities while you're at it in this really crappy pandemic season. Okay, we are finally at the end of this massive ass long video for how to get an IB 44 or above during the pandemic season, and or not if you're not in a pandemic as well. I hope this video really helped you guys get some guidance, some ideas on how to structure your study, what the IB is, what kind of things you're looking at, and just what you need to do during such a crappy pandemic season in order to succeed in this pretty much grueling as well as enriching course called the IB. To those of you who are in the November 2021 batch, I wish you all the best and good luck for the exams. If you are doing exams, if you're a non-exam route, I still hope you guys get the scores you've been working, wishing for, and everything. To all of those who are in the May 2021 exam, I did hear about it. I just hope you guys were happy with how it went, to, you know, as much as you can be. But most of all, that you guys find peace with your score. And try your best not to waste any money on remarks, because it's pretty much a hit or a miss. So good luck, guys. Do your best, and I really hope that this video has helped you out in any way. Stick around for more IB related videos, because I will be making some on IAs, so how to get a 7 in IAs, how to do your TOC and EE, get those maximum points, guys, we all want those, and a lot of other IB related study stuff, as well as some other stuff we'll probably see coming. But stick around, like, subscribe, comment, and tell me, you know, how you found the IB, what it is you're doing, and you know, why you're wanting to do it in the comments below. Good luck, keep going, keep surviving, you can do it. Bye-bye.